This episode of Tech News Weekly is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for a simple payment solution, check out Braintree. With one simple integration, you can offer your customers every way to pay, period. To learn more, and for your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, go to BraintreePayments.com/TNW.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by the one, the only, the incomparable Suncast. How you doing, John?
The incomparable.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Andrew?
I am doing wonderful. It's been a very busy week. Some ups, some downs, but
Some alcohol?
some alcohol. Well, yeah, yesterday a little bit of alcohol yesterday.
The
huge. But let's get to our third co-host at this point. You are a co-host, John.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of normal now, aren't I?
You're normal. You're part of the group. What's going on?
Now I don't get a special introduction anymore. It's just
No.
John's here.
John Prosser, Front Page Tech, everybody.
Hey,
FrontPageTech.com. How's it
Which
going
just
over
had
there?
their
That
400th
is
episode,
incorrect,
by the way.
Andrew.
That is incorrect. You're not
Dot
from...
.net, not .com.
Oh, FrontPageTech.net. Yes, FrontPageTech.net.
yeah. I'm
It
starting a new
goes to
website.
show you how much he pays attention to this stuff.
Listen, that's
I know.
why I have Suncast to do everything
He
at this
should know
point.
it's partytree.com.
Partytree.com?
Yeah.
What is
It's
that?
my new. It's my new website.
Partytree.com.
Yeah, it's where you go have parties and trees.
Is that a real website?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
wish
it probably is, but it's not mine.
What happens if I go to partytree.com? Nothing happens, actually. It's a blank page.
I hope nothing incriminating.
Yeah. This is a show where we talk
You know
about
what?
this week's
That's
technology.
so funny, though, because that actually reminds me of something else. Because there's a different meaning for the word tree.
Like weed?
Yes.
Yeah. The party tree. We're all smoking weed here. Might as well at this point. This show's already
Andrew's
derailed
like, yeah,
5
the
minutes into it. We're 5 minutes into the
I
show
was
and I have no idea
derailed
what we're
before
doing.
we started.
Yeah. Guys, a lot to talk about actually today. I've apparently gone on a shopping spree for new technology this week. Not because I want
Crisis,
to.
Andrew?
It is not because I want to, by the way. Let me just add that. It's because I was forced due to circumstances far beyond my control that I had to spend all this money. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some other goodies and, of course, things happening in technology. But before we do that, let's talk about our wonderful sponsor, and that's Braintree. Listen, guys, Braintree is a phenomenal mobile app development service where they develop an application. You use this app. You develop an app, for example, and you use this line of code, use Braintree's code, and you are able to accept all different types of payments. So by next year, or maybe even next week, there's going to be a whole new way of paying. Maybe it's the next Bitcoin. Maybe it's the next Apple Pay or Android Pay or Google Pay or the 5,000 other payment methods that exist. If you accept payments, different types of payments, this is a tremendous hassle for you because now you have to go back and you have to figure out how the hell am I going to accept these payments? How is that going to happen? You got to hire a new developer. You got to recode everything. Braintree's full stack payment platform is easily adaptable to whatever the future holds. So if there is a new payment solution out there, guess what? Braintree will accept it. It accepts everything from pounds to PayPal, which is the most amazing thing. PayPal, Bitcoin, every major credit card, every type of currency. This is phenomenal for a guy like Suncast, for example, that develops applications and develops websites. How much of a pain is it for you, John, to go back and start over again and start implementing new stuff over and over again? It's difficult.
No, and especially if you're running something with e-commerce, the less work you can do to get the most money out of something, the better.
Absolutely. Braintree's code supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients. It's simple, secure payments, and the payouts are blazing fast. They are a phenomenal company. I absolutely love Braintree. A lot of our viewers have implemented Braintree, I can tell you that, and every single one of them absolutely loves it. Go to BraintreePayments.com/TNW. That's BraintreePayments.com/TNW. And sign up. Test it. It's awesome. Guys, seriously, it is awesome. BraintreePayments.com/TNW. I want to thank Braintree for supporting Tech News Weekly and of course, for supporting the GFQ network. I love those guys over there. So let's talk about a couple things here. Do we want to begin with my my issues with technology this week? Okay, let's talk about that.
Why not?
So Saturday, I started having some issues with my Mac. It was not working right at all. Okay, whatever. The trackpad was a little funny. Maybe something got on the trackpad. Maybe it got a little wet. Whatever. It happens, and it fixes itself after a while. Didn't fix itself. I had to do I had to force shutdown, restart, force shutdown, restart, force shutdown, restart, force shutdown, restart. And after about the 6th time that I did this to get the trackpad to go back to normal, it did not come back to life. Dead. So now this sucks because I rely so heavily on this MacBook. I do everything on this computer. I need it to be able to kind of work and to be able to function as a human being at this point. So, John, the first thing I did, actually, I went to the Apple store. And they told me that they cannot fix my current Mac because it is obsolete. Their exact words. My Mac is obsolete. It's a 2011.
Andrew,
Yes, sir.
the funny thing is,
Yeah.
we reported about this on my show like a year ago, I think, where Apple came out with a list of obsolete products that they're no longer going to support.
Yes.
We made fun of it then. And it's crazy that it moves so quickly, and now it's already in play, like where they're refusing to fix stuff already.
Yeah, they do not want to fix it. And they said if they were to fix it, the cost is $300 flat rate. They just take the device to look at it. It's $300 for them to look at it.
What?
Because they have to send it to a service center. They don't do it there at the Genius Bar. They send it out.
Yeah.
$300. No, $280. I'm sorry. Then they said it'll be anywhere upwards of $450 to $650 to repair the logic board. So let's say $650 plus another $300. That's a lot of money. You're talking $900.
Yeah.
At this point, why would I do that?
You're just a few hundred away from a new one.
I'm just a few hundred away from actually about 1,000 away from a new one, but still, you know,
A few hundred, you know.
a few hundred, yeah.
A couple 20s.
So I at this point I was like, you know what? I'm gonna end up repairing this anyway. I'm gonna find a logic board on Amazon or eBay or whatever. If our viewers come across this, I need a 2011 i7 logic board with the chips. I want the chips in there. I don't want to start desoldering things on this thing. So I could probably get it for like $500, and for $500, it's worth it. I'll do it for that. But I needed something now. I don't want to wait a couple of weeks till I find the right one and shipped out. So I said, you know what? I pulled the trigger, and I ended up getting a 2015, which is the current model, i5, 8 gigs, 512 SSD, brand new 13-inch MacBook Pro. I find out the same day that Apple sent out the invites, right? Which is going to be our next story. Apple sent out the invites to their Apple event, which we'll talk about. I know Suncast wants to talk about this, and we're going to be covering here on the GFQ Network. I don't know if John Prosser wants to join in. Why do you want me to hurry up so badly? But here's the problem. There might be new MacBook Pros being announced. There's a very good chance there's a MacBook Pro because the March refresh is the one that we normally get. We got a refresh of these in March. And it'll probably have Skylake on it. We didn't get one in June, actually, surprisingly. We got one in March.
I think we should go into the story because it all ties in.
Yeah, it all ties in. So now, go into the story.
So Apple has officially announced their March event, March 21st, which is Monday, which is a little bit different than usual because normally they do it on like a Tuesday.
Oh, you don't know how happy
they're doing
I am
it on
a
Monday now. I guess they have some big court thing coming up the next day on Tuesday. So they moved it ahead of day.
Yeah, it's also very good for me that it's a Monday because that is day 13 of my 14-day exchange period. So if it comes out on Monday, phenomenal. I'm just going to put this thing back in the box, which I have right here, bring it back to the Apple store, and then get the brand new one.
The box?
I do. I just looked. I freaked out for a second. I was like, oh, crap, did I throw the box away? But it is day 13 of my 14-day return cycle. I actually called Apple, and they're like, listen, if you're off by like a couple days, it's no problem. You can still exchange it. So it works out. But continue. Suncast.
What?
Go ahead. No, go ahead into the story.
So Apple sent out the invites, and it says, let us loop you in right across the bottom of it. Supposedly hinting towards, I guess, new Apple bands for their watch. And there's a bunch of other stuff that we've heard rumored. The iPhone 5 SE or whatever it is going to be, the SE whatever. And smaller iPad Pro and possibly iOS 9.3 because we've seen, I think, almost 5 or 6 different beta versions for iOS 9.3 now, and it still hasn't come out, and Monday would be a great day to do that.
Yes, so iOS 9.3 will most likely come out that day or that week. Also, the latest version of whatever Yosemite is, I guess the beta, like the new update, will probably come out also. I'm not on the beta on this machine. I was on the beta on that, and we're reaching the end of the betas. You know, we're at the new one. This is interesting. So, did you see the 9.7-inch iPad Pro rumor? I mean, that is the most interesting thing to me because what's happening here? So we have the ridiculous 13-inch iPad, right? The 12.9-inch iPad. Then we have the regular iPad Air. Now we're going to have an iPad Air Pro. Like, what is this going to be? How are they going to do
this? Almost makes sense. This almost makes sense because if you look at it, if you take that in addition to the iPhone SE rumors of a 4-inch iPhone, and you look at it, that actually makes sense across all their product lines now because they're making it small, medium, and large. You got a size that fits every single market. It's kind of like when you go and buy a drink at a restaurant, and they have small, medium, and large drink sizes. That's not what Apple is doing. They're going to have a small, medium, and large iPad and a small, medium, and large iPhone.
So, John Prosser, what do you think of this? Because now we're not going to, apparently, rather than a rumored an Air 3, we're getting an iPad Pro that's smaller, the size of the regular iPad. Do you think this is a little confusing for the market? Do you think this is something that's needed? How important, why would someone buy the iPad Pro 9.7-inch over getting a regular iPad Air 3 or iPad Air 2, whatever it is?
We'll have to see how Apple decides to market it. Most of the moves that they're making lately are just super confusing. And I think I said this on last week's show that it seems like they're really setting us up for something that they're planning on in the future. Like what happens right now maybe doesn't make sense, but with the midline MacBook that we have, the so-called iPhone SE coming out, another smaller iPad, but an iPad Pro, they're really confusing moves, and maybe they're trying to aim their ideas into the future a little bit, and we can't follow. We're not figuring this out quick enough.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see what happens. But because of this, because I think I don't know, we had mentioned that there could be the possibility of MacBooks and stuff, but I know this is disappointing, but I don't think that's happening this week.
You don't think we're going to get a MacBook
next
this week?
or whatever? I don't think that's happening because that is when we usually get the MacBook updates this time of year, yes, but they're adding more products now. So now they're going to have to space out these events some more. So if they're going to announce if they are announcing a new iPhone and a new iPad, I doubt we're getting a new MacBook. Because the idea will be the event will focus on that, and we'll probably get MacBooks on WWDC.
When I say a new MacBook, I don't mean a redesign or anything. I just mean a updated chipset.
Oh,
let me just lay that out there.
Maybe
because Skylake has been out for a while.
Or they'll just lay it in the store without saying anything.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think they're going to do is just refresh the chipset on these things. Which if that's the case, then I will definitely go and trade it in. I don't think we're going to get a new redesign for the body. But that said, we haven't gotten one in a couple of years, right? We haven't gotten a redesigned body. We did get the new trackpad, which I will review this at the end of the show. This MacBook Pro. I have to tell you, I'm actually not that happy with some of the things on this thing. But
you're very particular.
You know what though? I should be for $2,000. You know what? For $2,000,
right.
I should be. When you buy a product in 2011, and there are certain aspects of that product that are better when it's supposed to be an improvement over the previous generation, that's when I have an issue. I don't necessarily have an issue with if I have a Lenovo and I have this. That's not an issue for me. Well, because I could still pick something else. There's no reason to downgrade. That's how I see it. Now, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. I'll do my little review. I am curious also about this cheaper, the smaller iPhone. I still think it's a mistake. John, Suncast, do you think it's a mistake for them to put this device out? Do you think it's kind of Apple regressing and going backwards?
I was reading an article, I think it was today or yesterday, and they were saying that, the one size fits all thing that Apple did for several years, that was great for a while, but they were saying that, the times has moved on, and now it's we can do this. We can create a device that fits all these different sizes and not sacrifice a whole lot.
Yeah.
I
don't
think
know.
Apple has the room to do it because, for years there's only been one iPhone. And if they are, with these Android devices, you have how many devices coming out throughout the year, not from one company, but even Samsung is creating multiple devices.
Multiple devices, yeah.
So I think Apple has room to do it. In order to compete, they need to do it. It'll inflate their numbers, and I think this is just a case of them having just enough Apple money to go ahead and experiment and try to pull something off into another market. We'll see how many people actually buy into it. I think a lot of kids are going to be a fan of it. Parents are going to go out to Best Buy during Christmas season, and they're going to go buy you a smaller iPhone. I think it's going to be popular in that aspect, but I'm curious what people actually make the conscious decision to get the smaller one over the bigger one.
Yes.
Like they're making that choice. Like iPhone 6S, smaller iPhone SE. How many people are actually going to choose the smaller one?
Do you know why?
Because
I'm going to tell you my theory on why they have the 4-inch iPhone now. They're bringing it back. They do focus groups, right? These companies do focus groups. And they most likely, the biggest complaint when they handed someone with a previous, an iPhone 5S or an iPhone 5, they handed them the iPhone 6. All of their reactions were probably, "Oh wow, this is big."
Yeah, and then after a week, they're okay with it.
After a week, they're okay with it. Like my wife, she bought it. She hated it. She goes, "Oh my God, this thing is too big. I really don't like it." And now she thinks it's a little too small. She's like, "You know what? I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger."
Yeah, you probably could
I
never
think that can be
hand
said
her
of a
another
lot
iPhone.
of things, though.
You could never hand her an iPhone 5S and have her be happy with it ever again. She's
No.
already used to the bigger size.
Yeah.
and-
So I think this is catering to a very different group that doesn't want to change or they didn't change. I'm curious to see what happens with this, and I'm curious to see at the pricing. Listen, this device could do great in emerging markets. Apple is getting killed in emerging markets right now, and they're not buying iPhones because they're way too expensive. So if they're going to have a less expensive or less pricey, cheaper iPhone, it's going to be great for them because they can penetrate another market.
But Andrew, here's
Yeah.
a question for you. Do you see them making this significantly cheaper? Or are they just going to Apple it up? It's going to be a small iPhone. Here's the premium price because it's a premium product. Sorry.
You know
have
what?
fun.
$499.
Is that
And it's going to have a base of 16 gigabytes.
16 gig, $499.
I still don't think that's quote unquote cheap enough for any emerging market. $500 is not.
Listen, I don't think it
Especially
is
when
either.
you're competing with Android One phones that are $30 now.
Listen, you're competing with Google's 5 plans also, and Google now with their 5X, it's $199, unsubsidized,
Yeah.
no contract. I mean, it's month to month. But you pay $199, you have the phone. So Apple is in their own little bubble here, and I'm curious to see how this plays out for them. So it's Monday. We're going to be doing coverage here at the GFK Network. I just realized I had other things happening. I totally forgot it was on Monday, so I have to move stuff around. But we will be doing the coverage on Monday here at the GFK Network, so we can talk about that. And, of course, we're going to be talking about it probably all week next week. So
I think we'll probably see like the iPhone, the iPad Pro, some Apple Watch stuff, Apple Watch bands, maybe a couple software tweaks like new tvOS or iOS. Definitely, I'd say iOS 9.3 is coming out, and then they're going to talk about encryption for about an hour.
Yeah.
Because the hearing is the next day.
Let me put this into some perspective as well, because we do get all these rumors, and more often than not, these rumors are true, but sometimes the timing isn't right. For example, the Apple TV. How many years had that been rumored? And we, time after time, event after event, it was not announced.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And it's the same thing with the Apple Music service. We heard that rumor for so long, and it was event after event before we actually had it announced. And the same thing again with the TV subscription service, which has yet to be announced.
Yeah. Which I don't think we're going to get that at this.
No.
We're definitely not getting that.
Definitely
it's
not.
Be a while.
You know, it's going to be interesting how that TV subscription service works with the latest FCC changes. You know, Tom Wheeler, head of the FCC, wants to open up set-top boxes for the cable companies, meaning you could have any kind of device, an Apple TV, an Android TV, a Fire TV, and that could play as your cable box, your set-top box. I'm wondering now if this latest change with the FCC, that's going to impact what Apple does with their subscription service. If they're going to say, wait a minute, let's not worry about a subscription service. Let's possibly wait and see. Maybe we can make this thing into a tuner and have it as everybody's set-top box, and further keeps you in the Apple ecosystem. It's very interesting. All the latest rumors about that, guys. Before we go to the next story, I want to do a little plug, little housekeeping here, and I want to talk about our Pro Wrestling Tees shop. Now, obviously, it says Pro Wrestling Tees. It's not all about pro wrestling. We have all our GFQ shirts on there. I know a lot of people have been asking for GFQ shirts, and here it is. We have, obviously, our Matt Men shirt. We have the GFQ stamp, the old school stamp. You have the Guys from Queens vintage athletic shirt, the GFQ Subway shirt, which I didn't design that. The guy that designed our shirts did it, and it's selling like crazy. So people absolutely love it. And, of course, the Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat shirt. You go to ProWrestlingTees.com/MattMenPodcast. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/MattMenPodcast. You can buy your shirt there. Mine is coming tomorrow. I ordered a bunch of shirts.
I'm still waiting for mine.
And Suncast is still waiting for his, but it'll be there
I ordered
next week.
the Eat Sleep Podcast Repeat one, because that one is just awesome.
Yeah.
Even if you're just any podcaster, that's a must-have shirt.
Absolutely. So ProWrestlingTees.com/MattMenPodcast. John Prosser, you need to rock one when you're doing Front Page Tech.
That sounds good. I like the Eat Sleep Podcast one.
Everybody loves that
good.
one. Everybody loves that one. So a little internal housekeeping here. We got to pay the bills somehow. So going to the next story. Who wants to take the next story here?
I can do that if you want.
Yeah, you go ahead. John Prosser and I are going to hang out here.
So the first known Mac ransomware has been reached in the wild. This is something that has plagued PCs and smartphones for quite a while now. And ransomware is basically an attacker gets a hold of your computer and plants a virus, and that virus will encrypt all the data on your computer, and as a result, it'll pop up a name screen that says, if you want access to your data, you have to send such and such amount in Bitcoins to this address in order to get back your data, which is now encrypted. That's what ransomware is. And for the first time now, the ransomware has been found on Mac PCs or Mac OS X. And this happened through an application called Transmission, a BitTorrent client, in version 2.90, and the ransomware is called Caranger. And luckily, it's now been taken care of. Transmission released a new version that had it removed. Somebody had used the certificates to breach Transmission and Apple and get around some bunch of stuff, and now Apple has taken care of that as well. So you're safe now, but this is the first existence of ransomware affecting Mac OS X.
So I got a question for you guys. So let's say you get infected with ransomware, right? It does this pop-up and it says, pay us now or else it's going to, what's going to happen? It's like, there's like a timer, right? And then it locks you out.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if I just take that hard drive and I just wipe it out?
You wipe out all your data.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
As long as you have that data backed up, you're fine. This is one of the reasons why backups are important. This actually just happened to a hospital system. I think in California, they were infected with ransomware and their data, all of their data for their entire hospital system was held ransom for like $174,000 in Bitcoin.
Wow.
And they went for 2 weeks trying to figure out how to decrypt it. They couldn't get anybody to figure out a way to get around it, and they ended up paying like $174,000 in Bitcoin to this ransomware group in order to decrypt their data to get the key back.
And it is very difficult for people to trace where this is going. The money.
Yeah. This is a big problem. There's like billions of dollars generated through ransomware every single year.
There was an episode of The Good Wife that I just watched, and it had to do with ransomware.
as long as you got your data backed up, you're perfectly fine just ignoring it and just
Yeah.
reformatting.
Yeah.
If someone did it to me, I'd honestly just be like, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go buy something else.
Yeah. Listen, dude, you're not getting anything from me, so sorry, just
And
wiping
my
it
whole
out.
life is online anyway. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think?
One of their tricks is that, you know, when they ask for a ransom, they'll ask for an amount of money that they think is reasonable. They're not going to ask for a ridiculous amount of money. They're going to ask for a lower amount that they think you're willing to pay.
Okay, so
for
what would that
data.
be? you
That
think?
way
Okay.
they have a higher chance of actually getting the ransom from you.
I haven't seen this happen in real life to anybody that I know, but like, what would the price be? Like $49.99 to like let it go? To open
I don't know. I mean,
$49.99.
sometimes it depends on what the data is and where they get it from.
Yeah.
Like that hospital system, obviously. The ransom for that was going to be much higher than it would be for an individual.
Yeah. I wonder if their insurance pays for that, you know? Like, I wonder if now that's going to be a policy that people are going to take any kind of institution like that, universities, doctors, anything that has to do with, you know, major, with important information, if they could take out a policy just in case that happens. You know, like we have terrorist insurance now that businesses take, companies take, buildings take. So I wonder if this is going to be another way, like cyber terrorism or cyber security insurance. If not, maybe we should come up with a new business.
That would make sense. You should start something.
Yeah, look at that.
It is scary that the way that this ransomware was hidden in transmission, though, and the way that it was infected through transmission, because it used a developer certificate that Apple had issued to a developer, and they made use of that somehow, like a man-in-the-middle attack or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting the way that they were able to, even though they had all these safeguards in place, somebody was able to infect transmission with this ransomware, this malware.
So let's talk about the next story here. Google surprises with an early preview of Android N. N for
What a
Nutella, right?
surprise.
It has to be Android Nutella.
Probably.
How could it not be? First of all, who doesn't like Nutella? Suncast?
It's fine.
You like Nutella.
It's fine?
Okay, just making sure. First of all,
fine.
wait a minute. It's fine?
That's not something I keep stocked.
What do you mean? You're telling me you didn't grow up with Nutella as a child? When you would ask for a healthy snack, your grandmother would just take like a jar of Nutella and give you Nutella and bread?
When I was growing up, we had the marshmallow fluff.
No. We had Nutella, but so when I was a kid, we had to go to like the Mediterranean store, like the Greek store to buy Nutella, or like the Italian store to buy Nutella, because they didn't have it. Like you couldn't buy it in stores. And it came in a glass jar and was all in Italian, and Kobe Bryant was on the cover. I'll never forget that. This is like 1996. Kobe was on the cover.
What the hell, Andrew? Did you have to smuggle it home in your butt?
And it was really like, and then still now, if I pass like a Mediterranean store, like a Greek shop, whatever, I'll go in and I'll look for the Italian Nutella because it tastes 1,000 times better. So different. Comes in the glass. It comes in the glass container, not the plastic. This has been This Week in Nutella, guys. So see you next week. So Android N went out. Developers. The Android N developer preview went out, and it's exactly what we thought it was. I was actually surprised on how this came out, and there was very little coverage about it. Obvious modifications, changes. Small improvements, performance improvements here and there. What do you think of this, John Prosser?
I was just kind of underwhelmed by it. I mean, we still haven't. Most people don't have Android M yet, and we're already surprised.
Well,
by
I'm getting a phone next week with it. So
TechCrunch specifically says that only 2.3% of Android devices out there have Marshmallow installed. 2.3%.
It would be a bigger story. It would be a bigger story if N was pushed out to everyone. But this is just an early developer preview. In fact, we don't even have the build number of this yet. So just based off of what I see and the minor changes, it looks like 6.1 maybe.
So, yes. So here's the interesting thing. The update is available. Google will let you sign up for an over-the-air update, which is very interesting that you're going to be able to get an over-the-air update. But, of course, it is only for Nexus devices. Google Nexus 6, 5X, 6P, Nexus Player, Nexus 9, the Pixel C devices. One missing device from the list is a Nexus 5, so I don't think Nexus 5 is going to get it. But the over-the-air option is very interesting that they may be working something out with carriers where you are going to be able to get these Google updates instantly from Google, much like how we get it from Apple.
No.
It's a step forward.
Well, keep in mind this is just on Nexus devices, which
Yeah,
are
so for now.
already stock.
Yeah.
It's harder to push updates. If you have stock Android, that's one thing, and that's what Google loves. But there's no possible way that you're going to push over-the-air updates instantly with carriers, especially for Samsung and everything, because those. First of all, Samsung has to get N, whatever it's going to be called in its final version,
And they're going to have to
they
bake
have to
their own
modify
version.
it and shit on it. And then they have to put it to the carrier who's going to install bloatware and sponsored stuff, and then they're going to push it out. So there's no way that it's going to be...
Yeah, so it'll be a full year before you'll get it.
Well, talking about Samsung shitting on things and bloating it up, I just ordered this. I just ordered the Galaxy 7S. I'm getting it on Monday. I did order the Edge version, and I did get it in gold. But I also ordered a 64 gig micro SD card to pop in there because it already comes with 32. So I'm just going to pop this in and get 64 on here. So here's my question about this. When will Google and Android and all these makers start getting their act together and saying, listen, I know it's taking way too long. We have to come up with a better system to be able to push updates. Or they just don't care. They don't want you to update, so you just go and buy a new phone.
They don't care.
They don't care. How about
The carriers
Google
obviously
has
don't
tried.
care.
Yeah.
Google has,
The only
really,
people
really
that are
tried.
Go ahead, John.
They've tried, and their solution was to make the majority of your features happen within applications that can be updated by Google. That's why Google has their own standalone texting app now. You know that they have multiple apps from Google directly that offer your phone new features, and then those are pushed out in an update, and that's supposed to mitigate the whole issue of the fragmentation in terms of Android nowadays. So a lot of the updates you're now seeing in apps and not so much in software.
Yeah, so that is the interesting thing. So did you see how Samsung does it? Have you seen that, John?
What do you mean?
How they do those updates when they have like a bug fix and stuff?
No.
So they update it through the Galaxy App Store. So there'll be like a system update to fix and patch stuff rather than pushing it over the air through the carrier if there's like a bug fix within the OS.
That works.
I mean, it works really well because I've gotten a couple of them and they've been really good and they've helped the phone out. But you're not getting like major, OS changes and stuff. But you are getting bug fixes, security, vulnerability patches, things like that, which is great. I do think that's going to be the way that these the OEMs start pushing it instead of pushing the latest version of Android. Because the reality is most people don't even care what Android version they're running. They don't even know what Android version they're running. And they never will. The only time they'll get a new one is when they go buy a new phone, when they update their phone.
Right.
So
That's sad.
yeah, and it's not that much of a priority for them.
It should be, though.
I think so.
With the new features that you get and the improved security, having the latest operating system, if you have a newer device, should be of importance. Now, if you have a device that's more than 3 years old, I can understand that. But if you have a device that's less than 2 years old, you definitely need to be up on the latest operating system.
Yeah.
I think it just started off wrong. You know what I mean? Like, this is how it started with Android, and the fragmentation. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's better now than it used to be, and it's still terrible. But if it would have started off stronger and they had a better focus on getting everyone on the latest OS, maybe it would have been sorted out. But at this point, carriers are too involved, and manufacturers even at this point are too involved, and they like it too much.
It's difficult because and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
You're good.
Because when you are able to compare this to iPhone, there's no way to spin that. Because iPhone, whenever the latest operating system comes out, within a year, it's on like 90-95% of all iOS devices.
Yeah.
Which you can't say of Android. And,
You know,
and there's
and-
just no way to spin that.
But Apple has an advantage there because they were the first ones to do this, number one. Number two, they were able to cut the deal with the carriers and say, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do. Because remember, Verizon didn't want Apple. They went on Singular, which became AT&T. But due to the phone's popularity, they had that much pull to say, no, this is how we're controlling this. We're controlling the situation, not you guys. That's the advantage for them.
It's because Apple controls the hardware as well. They just push it out over Wi-Fi and you're done.
Yeah. So Google is essentially trying the same exact thing with their Nexus line. And that'll be the incentive to go buy a Nexus device, which was always Google's thing. You buy our device, you're getting the latest and the greatest constantly, and you buy something else, and it depends on what they're pushing out to you. Makes sense. That's how it works. Hey, let's go to the next story here. Nexus founders, the Nexus founder, wow. Napster founder is making a day-to-date movie release service. Now, I've been talking about this for a while. I hate going to the movie theater. I think they're filthy. I think they're gross. I think that's disgusting. I don't want some snot seat. I don't want.
You don't like going
boogers.
out in public, period, though, unless you're going to drink.
Unless I'm going to drink. That's the only time I like going in public. Sean Parker.
You have to basically be drugged to go out in public.
That's very true. And most of the time I am. Sean Parker, Napster co-founder and ex-Facebook president, is cooking another big project. According to Variety, he and Prem Akkaraju, an executive at SFX Entertainment, have recently pitched a premium day-to-date movie release service to the studios. This is actually really cool. It's reportedly being called the Screening Room. So, for example, it costs you $150 to buy a set-top box that transmits movies the same day they come out to the theaters. So $150 in one shot. You have about 48 hours to watch it, and you'll have to pay $50 every time you view the movie or any movie. I think it's pretty cool. I would be willing to do this. 100% it is worth it. I would definitely pay $50 plus buy the set-top box to watch the movies that come out in the theater. Absolutely. Yep. I saw reports saying, oh, my God, this is crazy. It's too expensive. Who would want to do that? Who would want to pay, $150 for this box, then to pay $50 every time you watch a movie? I think this is brilliant. There are so many people out there that cannot go to the movie theater for a number of reasons. Kids, or like me, they're out of their minds and they absolutely hate the movie theaters.
If you have kids, you don't have money to spend on this.
It's actually, if you think about it, this is the price of going to a movie here. How much is a movie ticket? I'm not talking about like an afternoon matinee. I'm talking about like a Saturday night movie ticket. You're talking about 20-something bucks. How much?
12.
12 bucks. Where?
Here.
Not here. It's like $20, dude. Literally.
How much is it in BFE, Ohio?
Yeah, how much?
Yeah, it's like $18 for a ticket.
See, isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like about $22 here if I went to the movie theater a couple blocks away. $22 a piece. You're gonna get the popcorn. You're gonna get the juju mints and whatever the hell else you're getting.
Technically, right now for me it's free.
Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, because you've been feuding with them.
Feuding, no.
So at the end of the day, it's gonna cost you $50 anyway. They even plan to give you 2 movie tickets for every title you pay for, so cinemas can earn from the concession sales. So for every movie that you get 2 free tickets, so you could go see something else or go see the same movie if you want. I think this is actually a really cool idea. I'm really hoping that something like this happens. Fios tried this a while ago where they released certain movies like the week that they came out in the theater or like the week after they came out in the theater, and it failed miserably. They were asking like $78, and it was just horrible. It didn't work out. So something like this, really hopeful, and I really hope that the studios get behind it. What do you think, John? What do you think, Suncast?
Go to John first.
Yeah.
John. I love this. It's really, really sad to say it, but to me, it's way worth it. I hate movie theaters. I hate them. And if I can watch a movie in the privacy of my own home where it's quiet and there's not a bunch of assholes, sticky assholes, I will do it. I don't care how much money I have to pay.
How about you, Suncast?
I guess I'm the outlier here.
Yeah, I know. You like going to the movies.
I'm not into this at all.
Yeah, you like going to the movie theater.
Well, it's not that I don't like going to the movie theater, but I'm a very, very frugal person.
Yes.
And so paying for something like this having to pay $150 for the set-top box, and then another $50 on top of that per movie, and I only get 48 hours to watch it. That doesn't work for me. I think if they structured it differently, like if this would work with already existing set-top boxes like a Roku or a Fire TV or even Apple TV, you already have the hardware for that. Then if they wanted to charge $50 to view the movie, up to 3 times in a 7-day period,
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
I think it depends on the person. Like for you, you're saying it costs you $8 to go to the movie theater. Yeah, you know what? For you, $8, you go to the movie theater. You don't mind being there. You're watching on a big screen. The quality is probably better than what you're going to be able to do at home. That's great. For me, my perfect environment for the movies is me in bed with my Juju mints and my popcorn, and that's it. I don't have to deal with the public.
No,
But
it just comes down to
Preference.
the value for the money that I'm getting, and
Absolutely.
to me that the value that I'm getting is not there for the amount of money that's being spent. The $150 for the set-top box, it's an entry to barrier right there, and then on top of that, you only have it to view for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So to me, if it were a little bit better value, I could get on board with this.
Interesting. See, everybody's different. So let's talk about this for a second. You guys ready to talk about this? Do you want my little review of my MacBook Pro?
Do it.
Not really.
Because you know already. I told you this. I'm not crazy about the keyboard. The haptic touch trackpad. I need to get used to it. The display is beautiful. Whatever. I'm gonna do a full review, and I'm gonna talk about this in the next couple days when I start using it more. I'm still adjusting to the keyboard and everything. But I have a lot of stuff coming your way. I have to do a review on this. I am getting the Galaxy S7 Edge on Monday, so I'm going to do a review of that. And the fine folks at Netgear sent me this. Do you know what this is, John? Suncast?
Is that the Arlo? Yeah,
is.
those are the security cameras. Those are neat.
Yeah, so this is the Arlo.
I actually looked into getting that about a year ago when I moved, and I wanted some sort of security system, and I was looking at those. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, so they sent me the kit with 2 of them. The cameras are wireless. There's no wires.
Yes.
So they're battery powered, and that's why they're 720p. There is a 1080p model that you could connect and you could wire. The wireless feature, it's a 2.4 gigahertz frequency. It ranges up to 300 feet. 300 feet line of sight, which is not bad at all. Motion detection. The video resolution is H.264, 720p. I'm going to set this up this week. It's going to take a little bit of time because I want to put one in the baby room. And I have to figure out where I'm going to put the second one. The great thing about it is that I can move it around if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because it's wireless.
This will be great. Another thing I can hack into and watch you with.
Another thing you could hack into and watch me on. You watch me all day anyway on this stuff. So
No, in all seriousness, though, I'm very curious as to hearing your review on this and how well it works.
yeah, so there's a couple devices. There's a base. You connect the base to the internet, which I'm going to do next week when I have some time to play around with this. You connect the base to your router, and that's it. You go from there, and then you set everything up. Everything is controlled via your phone, via your Kindle device, your Android device, or iPhone. It looks really, really cool. I opened it up. The cameras look really good quality also. I've seen some of the demos out there, and they all look good. But I would like to set this up, by the way, with 7 days free cloud recording. So you get 7 days of cloud recording on this thing, which I think I have more than that on mine. You could upgrade to that, but I think I have more on this, on the trial that they're sending me. So I want to test this out. I want to set it up. I don't know where to put it. So one, I'm going to use as a baby monitor, 100%. I got to put it in the baby room. The second one, I don't know where to put it. Do I put it outside and use it for like how you have the iRing? Maybe use it as something like that, or do I put it in my office for now and see what's happening in there? Where do you think would be the best place to put the second camera? I don't know. I'm going to play around with it, but I'm going to be doing a review of this in the next probably a couple of weeks. I need some time to, do an honest review of this. But thanks to Netgear for sending this, and I'll have the review up in about 2 weeks. And that was it. That's pretty much it, guys. That's it for this week. Anything coming up, John? John Prosser, I know you just did the 400th episode of Front Page
Oh
Tech.
my Yeah, we did just do that.
Yeah, 400 episodes.
That's too many.
It's
too many
399 too many.
Yeah. No, the 400th went great. It was a lot of fun. My cat just jumped up here. If you see her, she's
Fat cat.
black, so you can see her. Fat cat. 400th went great, and we switched back to edited formats on Front Page Tech, the
You
main
did?
show. Everything else is pretty much.
Okay,
a
so how
podcast,
come?
but-
I'll ask you this: why?
Okay. Why? So I don't regret doing Front Page Tech, the main show, as a podcast there for a while. It introduced us to more people on podcasting platforms, so we're going to keep rolling the audio and of course pushing it through GFQ. Because I don't want to leave iTunes because we've had a little bit of success there, so I want to keep doing that. And but it came down to basically if we can do it, if we have the talent to do it, and the show can be better, why would I be lazy about it?
Yeah.
I loved podcasting, and that's because I love watching podcasting, but I think I'm better at watching podcasts than actually producing them. And my talents are in editing. Part of my humor is in editing. It's what I've been doing for years. And
Which is funny because I said the same exact thing to you yesterday.
Yeah. We made the switch yesterday. We didn't tease it at all. We didn't say anything. We didn't tell anyone it was going to happen. Even the sponsors on our website, like the people that pay us, usually we keep them filled in, and we didn't tell them anything.
Yeah, what the heck?
And then we just did it, and man, the reaction has been great. So
I always listen. I always liked that format that you were doing anyway, and I told you that from day one that I really enjoy that format.
Because it was shorter.
It's shorter, and I like I think you're good at it. I think it's funny, and I like that format. I personally suck at that format. So when I see someone doing that, I really enjoy seeing it. It's
fine. Then we're keeping it.
Don't we know that?
Yeah. Wow. I got a big package here. I got another box.
What?
That's what she said.
Yeah. Look at this thing. I just got it in. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Hey, if you want to support the show, go to prowrestlingtees.com/MattMenPodcast. Buy the GFQ shirts. Also, if you're buying something on Amazon, use our link, gfq.co/Amazon. Bookmark it. Whenever you purchase something, we get a small little credit. It really helps us out. I get to do these updates. I'm actually changing some of the lights in the studio, and I just ordered lights for the studio here. I ordered LEDs. So let's see how they work out.
That's what that big box was.
Yeah.
It's all LED lights.
It's literally, no, I swear to God, that's all it is. That's really all it is. It's LED lights. Because I had to get different bulbs for these, for the lights that are overhead. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights. Guys, that's it for this week.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I want to say two things.
Yes.
One is that next week I won't be here, but I'll be at C2E2 in Chicago. So if anybody is at C2E2 next weekend in Chicago, let me know because I'll be there. Gonna Geek is going to be there doing a podcast panel. I'm going to check that out. And also, I'm now on Fiverr. So if you need help editing your podcast, you want to make it sound better, I can do all that sort of stuff for you. If you go to fiverr.suncast.com, that's Suncast with a K, and you can hire me for as little as $5.
Yes, and let me tell you, Suncast does everything here at the GFQ Network. So if you like what you see and like what you hear, hire him. He's the best. That's all I could say about that. He's really good. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Sayonara.